Radio Raheem with the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi. You're right here at home, man. Showtime up fronts, boxing. They gave us like the whole schedule for the first half of the year.
This is pretty cool.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen something quite like this from a network before. I hope they do this every year. But there's so many fights that got announced today, and there's a few that were already on the docket that we're just going to go through a bullet list, right? Keep it kind of brief, but
we got them all down.
We got them all down. Now, we've already been through Spence Peterson, but I didn't get to talk to you after that fight. What kind of statement did Spence make, and what's the future for Peterson now?
He's a dangerous guy. He's a dangerous guy. He's the guy at welterweight, you know, until Keith comes back and shows us, you know, what he's got going on after the injury and whatnot. I think Spence has made a legitimate claim to be the guy at welterweight. Let's see.
Now, you know, when a fighter loses like that, a lot of times the word retirement pops out just because they're depressed or whatnot.
Yeah,
but
the age too, you know, you get to that age, you know. But I don't know. Lamont's earned the right to take a few days and a few months even to think about it. You know, he fought quite possibly, you know, the best welterweight in the world, and definitely somebody who's one of the best fighters overall in the world today. So, you know, it's no shame.
First fight up now is going to be Danny Garcia and Brandon Rios. That's a tough fight for some guys to watch. Like, I've had a lot of conversations about it. You're the first to say you can't tell a guy when to be done, but what kind of fight can we expect out of Brandon Rios, and is the Danny Garcia matchup really dangerous for him?
I mean, listen, I think Danny's favored. He's a younger guy, fresher guy, but here's the thing, you know, don't we watch fights to be entertained? So why are we judging fights on paper? Don't we watch fights to be entertained? Does Brandon not entertain us every time he's in the ring? You know what? He might still lose. He might lose to Danny. Don't you want to be entertained? I mean, what is the entertainment only if Danny loses? Like, I don't understand, like, what the problem is if he's fighting Brandon Rios right now coming off of almost a one-year layoff. You know what I mean? Like, Brandon always entertains. Brandon always comes to fight. If you're not ready, Brandon will eat you up. You know what I mean? Because he's always ready to throw a lot of punches and ready to get in your chest and fight. So I think it's actually a fan-friendly fight. You know, I think it's a fan-friendly fight. Brandon's shown us he's still got a very good chin. I mean, until he shows me that there's a chink in the armor with his chin, you know, I'm going to continue to think he's got a good chin and feel like he's got a good chin. He's been in with some good punchers and he hasn't wavered. So, you know, I think it's a good, fun fight. And that's the point of it. The point of it is to be entertained.
Wilder Ortiz coming up in just about a month from now. We were expecting to get that fight, and now we've got it. Both guys on stage together for the first time for this build-up. How do you see it?
It's a fun fight, man. A heavyweight championship of the world, 2 undefeated heavyweights, dangerous top 5 guys. What's there to complain about? I think it's a good fight.
Do you think Wilder has any big challenges in this fight? Like, he's obviously super confident after the Bermain-Severn destruction. What are the challenges that Ortiz presents?
We'll see. You know, he's got a southpaw stance, the Cuban background. You know, they always have the Cuban amateur background is always obviously has some pedigree to it, and I think Luis Ortiz is you know, along those lines. We'll see. You know, when heavyweights fight, the knockouts tend to happen, right? So, but we'll see what happens.
And on the heels of that fight, we're looking at Mikey Garcia and Sergey Lipinets. I saw Lipinets fight overseas. I think you were there as well. I'm pretty certain that you wouldn't miss that fight. So a lot of guys don't know him. But he's a tough guy, and he's definitely a game to fight. How does he match up against Mikey Garcia, who's like everybody's talking about?
He's a strong guy. He's pretty durable, and he's mentally a lasting guy. But I'm curious about the spots that he fights in. Sometimes he goes into lulls, like he did in his last fight, a title defense against the Japanese opponent, and the guy started really making him pay for those little lulls. Mikey's a very consistent fighter, so I'm curious to see how that plays out. I don't see Sergey folding in those moments where, you know, he's inconsistent, but things could get a little tougher for him if he's inconsistent against Mikey Garcia.
You think that the injury late to Lipinets in training camp, having to postpone the fight, it being on his hand, do you think that factors into the fight at all?
You know, I think if a fighter is injured, and he gets a chance to get some time to heal up and still get the fight, I don't think there's a problem. So, you know, it might. Hopefully, it's better for him.
Moving on, we got Charlo and Santino Jr.
Santino, yeah.
I've seen Santino in the gym, because I'm down at Wild Card. He's there all the time. This guy has a lot of talent. He doesn't have that much name recognition just yet, but he's got a lot of talent, and a win over Charlo would be a huge thing for him. Do you think that fight, do you think it's a 50-50 fight, or is he fighting uphill?
I wouldn't say it's a 50-50 fight, but Hugo's a good little fighter. And, you know, every young fighter waits for the moment that they step up for these big fights, and this is his chance, you know. He's got my ex-trainer, Eric Brown, in his corner. I know Eric's a very good trainer. I won a world championship with Eric, so I know he's got the goods in the corner. But, of course, Jamal is good, man. Jamal is good, especially right now. Jamal right now is really good. So of course, you know, it's a mountain to climb. But when you're young and you're up and coming, you want these challenges. You crave to fight the best, and he's got one of the best right now.
You think there's a breakout name at 154? Is there a guy that you think is going to really own that division, clear it out?
No, it's hard. It's hard with the political alliances too. You know, I would like to see more of Demetrius Andrade against some of these guys, man. You know, I think Demetrius Andrade is a very good fighter that you know, not enough people talk about because of you know, the issues he's had contractually and not fighting enough and whatnot. The junior middleweight division is stacked with talent. You know, there's still guys, you know, even the older guys like Lara, even somebody like Avanis who is out there lurking. He's a good fighter still. And then of course the name guys that you know, the Jamel Charlo, Jared Hurd. You know, on the outside you have a guy like Austin Trout, even. You know, and there's probably guys that I'm forgetting. You know, Julian Williams, a good fighter. You know, and there's probably, like I said, probably guys I'm forgetting. You know, so
right.
So it's a stacked weight class.
You know, I got to tell you, Showtime, they dropped a lot in our lap. Lara Hurd is definitely one of the ones that it could be tricky. I'm not sure kind of who wins that fight. I don't know what Lara brings. You know, he's a crafty, slick defensive fighter. He can make you look bad losing, even. When you look at that matchup, who's got the edge, and how do you see it shaking out?
Well, I think Lara has the pedigree, and Lara is more consistent with it. But the reality of it is, you know, we'll see how Hurd and his mental strength. That I noticed his last fight, Jared has a lot of mental strength. These of late, even the Tony Harrison fight, you know, he's got a lot of mental strength. Jared Hurd is not just a puncher with an awkward southpaw style. You know, he's got a lot. Well, he's right-handed, but he's got a lot of mental strength. I was thinking of Austin Trout, but of the Austin Trout fight. But yeah, he's got a lot of mental strength in that he's willing to go through those tough moments in fights and not break, and then come back and use his power late in the fights to get him back in or even stop it. You know, we saw it in the Tony Harrison fight, and we saw it again in the Austin Trout fight. So I can see a fight where Lara has the better pedigree and is winning the fight, but Jared makes it really rough late, and we'll see. You know, because Lara's pedigree is high level, and he may be able to survive it. He may be able to maybe even shut it down, or he may be able, or Jared may get it again. You know, we'll see. That's a fun fight. Again, these are the kind of fights we want to see.
Adrian Broner had a rough 2017. Obviously, his last fight against Mikey didn't go the way he wanted. Mikey put on a clinic. It seems like Broner is taking kind of one last grab at being a superstar, having to climb that ladder again. Omar Figueroa doesn't have the name recognition, but it's a big opportunity for him to win against a guy that brings eyeballs, puts butts in the seats, if you will. Is Broner still a favorite in that fight?
I don't know. Omar Figueroa looked terrific. He looked terrific against Robert Guerrero, man. You know, I don't know who the favorite is in that fight. It's a great clash of styles, though. Different styles altogether, and so many toss-ups when you bring that fight into the conversation. You just want to watch it and see, you know. So let's see it, you know. That's a good part about it. We got it.
Hey, that's the best kind of fight when you just got to watch it and see. Like, who knows, right? Yeah. And Stevenson Jack. That's what we've been waiting for forever. Okay, you're a guy with the politics. You know how boxing goes, the business of it, the politics behind it. What's going on with Stevenson? Why is it taking so long for him to do these title defenses? Like, what's the situation?
I don't know. You know, I don't know the Adonis' personal situation or whatnot. You know, when he does fight, he looks good, but you know, we obviously we'd like to see him defend the title a little bit more. The light heavyweight division is so stacked that, you know, there's not really a lot of time to keep one of the titles hostage like that and not fight often. But I think when Stevenson does fight, he lets it be known that he's championship material. I think him and Badu Jack is going to be a fun fight. It's going to be a good fight, and I look forward to it.
Could this be like a breakout fight for Jack? I mean, boxing guys know him, but his name doesn't really ring out when casual fans or people talk about stars in the sport. Could this propel him into that conversation?
Well, I think it can any win can keep propelling him. Because Stevenson never fights, I don't know that a win over him gets you that crossover recognition, but it'll keep doing for Jack what he's been doing in boxing, and that is continue to ascend this ladder and win world titles and really get your name out there. Badou Jack is a guy who is improving dramatically at a high level. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep improving when you're at that level of world-class level. Badou has gotten so much better at a world-class level. It's crazy. You know what I mean? And I think he's really phenomenal, and I look forward to this fight.
We're getting close, man. We're getting close. And to Showtime's credit, as close as we get, the fights aren't getting any weaker. I cannot wait for Santa Cruz Martes 2. How does it change, if it changes? Obviously, Robert Garcia's got to factor in. Talk to me about this rematch and what's different this time.
I hope it doesn't change too much, because the first one was real fun, you know, so I want it to be fun again, you know. Let the fighters figure that out, the adjustments that need to be made and whatnot. I tell you, Leo showed me a lot of wrinkles in that Frampton rematch. You know, that he could box. I didn't think Leo could box like that. You know, Leo can really box if he has to. You know, so if there's any changes to be made, we'll see where the fighters make the adjustments. But the first one was a fun fight. Hopefully, the second one's a fun fight as well.
And lastly, there's a few guys on here who didn't have opponents yet. So of these guys, Thurman, Spence, one of the Charlo brothers, Javonta. Which one would you most like to see first? Like, of all those guys, which ones do you most want to see fight? And what's the best matchup among them that you could possibly get in 2018?
I mean, I like to see Thurman come back. And I'm curious to see how he looks, because I think now every time Errol and Keith fight, the drama is going to keep building as to, wow, when are we going to see them fight each other? You know, so there's a chance. It's a chance to keep looking really good and keep making a statement every time you don't fight the other guy, you know? So Keith fights, make a statement, you know, make a statement to Errol. Now it's on Errol to make that next statement. Then it's back on Keith. So Errol made a big statement this over the weekend, you know? I want to see how Keith makes these statements now. And so if they each keep making statements, keep stomping back at each other, you know, you're building up a very big super fight, I think, in 2019.
You know, one thing about you, Paulie, is honestly, this is for real. You break down the fights the best. I have the best conversation with you about all the particulars, all the pieces of boxing that matter. So I always take up so much of your time, and you're so gracious with it. I appreciate it always. The Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi.
It's all good. It's all good, Radio Raheem. And one more thing. If anybody out there is complaining that I'm wearing sunglasses indoors, sunglasses are not just for the sun. Sunglasses are also a fashion statement. I don't know when they just became for the sun. If they were just for the sun, they wouldn't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, all right? There's also sunglasses for fashion purposes. All right.
It's Italian in New York. It's Paulie's home. You're wearing all this bling reflecting off my light. You gotta wear sunglasses. No explanation necessary. This is the Magic Man. He does what the hell he wants. Radio Raheem with the Magic Man, the bling guy, the sunglass king, Paulie Malignaggi.